really enjoyed. So today's topic being the topic which we all know, we have been hearing our India, not only the people who are aspiring to be natural farming practitioners, but also the government has also given a lot of trust in this direction. So this is picking up, and I think that there will not be a turning back on this because consequences have seen. So, in a ways, India has been practicing. We are the guys who have, it is a treatise in our Vedas, no, Vriksha Ayurveda, natural farming practice is mentioned very clearly how to go about the whole thing. So it is known to every Indian and it is in our blood, in our DNA, how to do it. Even small little small household also. Some few pots we will put and how to do it from the kitchen waste. We have been doing this. It's not that it's something very new. Okay. Only thing is in a large scale when you do home gardening or kitchen gardening, it's a hobby. It doesn't matter if it goes haywire sometimes, if it doesn't work out. But agriculture is something which you need to put your attention. There was a big crunch in 60s, which led us to adopt this chemical farming, the conventional agriculture, which they say. And then again, now we are taking a U-turn towards the nature. Now, what is this natural farming? Natural farming is going by the nature to do our agriculture. Okay. What is agriculture again in a natural way? It is harnessing the nature and making it, doing agriculture by harnessing the nature. This is how we have to know what is exactly the nature. The nature is basically, as we all know, it is made up of 5 elements. These are, we know very well, the earth element, the water element, the air element, the fire, and the space. Now, when you look into our own bodies, or you look into a plant body, or an animal body, or a bird, or anything, we all have this basic 5 elements. We are made up of this. And the place where we stay on this planet Earth is also made up of these 5 elements. It is very compatible for us to live here. If one of the elements is also removed, then it's not compatible for life. So this life is existing because of the compatibility. Why can't we go to some other planet now? All of us are trying to go towards Mars and all that. Why is it so difficult on planet Earth? It is very, very easy to live because it is compatible for life. It is made so by nature. Now, this nature, these 5 elements we see in ourselves as well as outside. When we see, observe our own body, you can see this, by observation, which element is dominating in your body at what point of time. Then which element, comes up, goes in the all this by observation you can see.
Umaji, your internet is very unstable.
Very dominant is early morning. Am I not able?
Your video has stuck, and the video is also, I mean, the voice is also breaking in between. It's not very stable. Do you want to, like, again switch? I mean, just switch off your camera and switch on again, or maybe switch
Breaking.
off your
Your voice is
internet.
breaking. No,
It
Rahul, I
says
feel
your internet
your
network bandwidth is
audio
low.
is not.
Maybe we can just switch off the camera because it takes a lot of internet bandwidth. You can just use your audio, Umaji. Can you speak now? So we can just
Yeah,
confirm if it's okay.
no, can't hear properly, ma'am. Somebody says. You're not able to hear me?
Now it's okay, Umaji. Once you switch off your camera, then it's okay.
Okay, fine.
And even for others who are switching on their camera, they can switch off because it takes a internet bandwidth for the speaker. तो अगर आप लोग अपना कैमरा बंद कर दोगे तो आपको ऑडियो अच्छे से सुनाई देगा. जब जहाँ पे जरूरत होगी तो तब चालू कर देंगे.
Is it audible now? Is it audible, Rahul?
Yes, it's audible, Umaji. Now it's audible.
Okay. So what, maybe a few sentences of mine you would have missed. What we were trying to say is we are all made up of the basic strata is those 5 elements. Whichever living being on the planet Earth, they are all made up of 5 elements, and we are also living in the 5 elements. All around us, we have all these 5 elements. That's why it is very compatible for us to live here. Okay. So when you take a plant body or an animal body or a human body, these 5 elements are there. So what is this? Again, nature, what we say is also 5 elements. So when you see our body, we see at different points of time, we can feel these 5 elements dominating and all that. And finally, when you see a plant body, now you take a big tree, cut it off, okay, cut, and then you burn the tree. Then what happens? How much ash you will get? You will get only a handful or a basket full of ash or a couple of baskets full of ashes, and then the rest of the thing, it just evaporates. Where does it go? The water element goes back as vapor, fire element goes back to itself, and all go back to the space. And what you have in your hand is ash, that is the earth element. Do you understand? That's why when you burn a very big tree also, you don't get that much of ash. You get some. So that's how the 5 elements go back to their cell. So this is how each person, each body here, living body is made up of these 5 elements. If we know that we are a part of this nature, because we are made up of nature, then we will understand natural farming better. Otherwise, what we will do, we will stand aside, away from reality, and try to do something, judge something without proper knowledge. Okay. So when we do natural farming also, we have to see that these 5 elements are provided by us to the plants. Then only it works. Okay. Now you take a big forest, or even our ashram those days when we used to visit in 2000, not many trees were there. Very few trees. And Gurudev would call and tell, you pour water for this plant, you have not, watered this particular spot. Like that it was those days. But now does anyone care for it? No. We just become very self-sustainable. How does big forests like Amazon or our big forest in our own country or our ashram for that matter, which we see very often, no? How does it become self-sustainable? How nature sustains this? If you understand this, then you will understand what to do natural farming. Okay. Now, nature, what it does is we need to only copy the nature. What nature does, that only you need to copy in your farm. That's all. Now, what has happened? Why your farm is not responding as the forest is or a virgin land is or something which is untouched? That is because the nature has taken care of it properly and it's going on. Sustainable means what? Forever it goes on like that. But when it comes to our farm, we have spoiled it so much. We have put so many chemicals. We have contaminated the land, the water, the air that is there around that farm. And to such an extent that we have killed all the living creatures in the earth itself, in the farmland. Okay, and then we have contaminated the water. Nobody wants to come anywhere near your farm. No bird will fly. No animal wants to visit. Even snakes don't want to come because they will get killed by the chemicals that we spray. Now who goes? Only human beings go. Only the farmer goes. And he also gets a lot of diseases. He get contacts so many things because the chemicals that we use in our farm are so lethal. If you have somebody has read, there was a outstanding case for that herbicide Roundup, which the farmer in America used, and he sued Monsanto because he contacted cancer. Like that, many are there in our own Punjab. A special train runs from Bikaner to Batinda to Bikaner. Batinda is in Punjab and Bikaner is in Rajasthan. Now, why Rajasthan? There is a trust which is treating the cancer patients at a subsidized rate. So, a cancer train runs, a train full of cancer patients. Now, this is the state where we have arrived now, using the chemicals without knowing the effect on us. Now, where did these chemicals come? As you have seen now, also when Russia is fighting Ukraine, and so many news items you keep on seeing, all this World War II. If you go to see cancer, some of you can see TED. Have you ever seen TED? If you listen to mustard gas, which was used in World War II. Later on, they made it into chemical fertilizer. So all the, not only mustard gas, all the chemicals that were there dumped after the war, they made it into that same weapon has become the agriculture fertilizer. Now, when it ultimately kills, no, whether you shoot, whether you fire a missile or you kill by fertilizer, it's all the same now. So many of us are suffering. Each family is suffering. Most of the families have somebody or the other suffering from cancer. This is the state we are in. Okay. So such lethal chemicals, when you put in your land, it just leaches the life in the land. So what we have done, we have leached the land of the biological aspect of the land. That is, the land should have biological aspect, that is the life in the land. When there's no life, the soil is dead soil. We are making it a dead soil. So by repeatedly putting the chemicals, the land has become now barren. Now it's not going to yield anymore. To such a state we have brought. Many celebrities like Prince Charles and many outstanding personalities who had a penchant for this natural way of doing agriculture. They have all predicted another 12 harvests only you will have. So everybody is telling, but nobody wants to really realize what is that we are heading towards. We are too scared sometimes to see the reality. Now, this is what is going to happen now. Now, when we go on putting chemicals and the land does not reciprocate to you, you throw any amount of chemicals, you give the best seed in, put the seed into the soil. If it does not sprout, now what can anybody do about it? So before we reach that stage, when there is a chance for us to amend, when there's a chance for you to take a U-turn, you need to take a U-turn. Now is the time. That's why most of the governments, and even our government, you must have heard Modi ji telling in that COP26, no? He has given his, a big takeaway from that for our India is he has promised that it will be sustainable agriculture going forward in a very big way to combat the climate change. I hope everybody must have heard about it. So this way, the government is giving a lot of trust in this direction in order to protect the environment, to protect the land from where we are getting our food, and try to give us the healthy food, nutritious food, and chemical-free food. So this is our way, this is our outlook. But the thing is, there are a lot of hiccups going to that stage, moving forward towards that, and trying to get into that practice, which is very difficult to change somebody's mind. Anything you can do, but changing the mind is very difficult. Now, mindset of a farmer is that he does not bother. Okay, why will he bother? It is his livelihood. He wants the harvest at the right time, but is it happening? It is a catch-22 situation. Unless you get out of that old system, you cannot have a sustainable agriculture. Now, getting out of old system is not so easy. Now, what is he used to? Buying store-bought chemicals, using it very easily, throwing it in his farm, and waiting for the harvest to happen. But he has contaminated the nature to such an extent that the unpredictable, untimely, certain things are happening in nature. Like, we had heavy rains last year. Everything was upset. Okay. And going forward, what do we know? Now, have you seen the temperature in Bombay and Gujarat? It is 42 degrees. Have you ever seen in month of March 42 degrees? In Rajasthan, Gujarat, Bombay, everything is so hot now. Even now, where I am staying in Hyderabad, it is 37 degrees now. We never have like this in the month of March, but everything is getting upset. Why? We are the ones who are upsetting the whole thing. Okay. So by these practices, various practices, and agriculture is a very big thing which impacts nature. It is a water guzzler. It uses much water for so in order to have all these things back on track. Now we need to change, and change is not so easy. And to make a farmer understand, change his attitude, change his mindset is very, very difficult task. That one thing which we have taken up from Art of Living from a very long time. We are on this trying to change the attitude of a farmer, trying to get him to do sustainable agriculture by teaching our programs, making him understand. Now we have roped in the government schemes in order to extend that to the farmers. We are a part of so many projects schemes of the government all throughout the country, trying to teach sustainable agriculture, chemical-free farming. Okay. Now going forward, now what is that we need to understand by natural farming? One thing we all need to understand is plants are the primary producers of food. Everybody knows that, right? What is that? Plants are the primary producers. They are the ones who produce the food by harnessing the nature, and then they make it available to the rest of the living creatures on the planet. Am I right? Except for some algae, plants are the main producers. They're the primary producers. They are the only ones capable of making food for themselves and for the rest of the creation. Okay? How do? They take the sunlight, carbon dioxide, water, all from the nature, and they manufacture food. And what is that they manufacture? Glucose. Okay, and release oxygen. This we have read when we were small children in school. We all know this. Okay, photosynthesis. We say photosynthesis. No? This is what the plant does. And what does the plant also? It is the, as I said, primary producer. It helps the entire creation. It feeds everything. Everything is dependent on this. They feed the herbivorous. The herbivorous are, again, they become the prey for the carnivorous, and everything is maintained. The whole food chain is like this, and man is sitting on the top of this food chain. He has a control over it. He has a discretion over it. But the so-called control, if he understands how much he has a control, then it will be very nice. If unnecessarily we understand that he is the controller, then it becomes really difficult because he cannot control anything, right? So going by the nature. Now, when you see a forest, it is self-sustainable. That is, the rain water that comes, it seeps into it. And the leaves that are littered on the ground, they cover the soil and they protect the topsoil. When the topsoil is protected, then a microclimate is created underneath the trees, underneath the leaves. And this microclimate enables the protection of the moisture on the top from the topsoil. It does not evaporate, as well as all the microorganisms that are present there or the soil microbes. They are all preserved under these leaves because that ideal temperature and the moisture is preserved by the litter, by the leaves that are littered on the ground. Now, this kind of an environment is very conducive because these soil microbes go forward to fix the nutrients that are available in the soil to the plant. This is how the entire ecology is maintained in a forest or in a land where chemicals are not put. Or you take our ashram land where chemicals are not used. There you can see the whole thing is preserved automatically. Okay. And what are the nutrients? We all know, when we were in school, we studied, we have 108 elements in the periodic table. Have we not read? We have all read. Most of us have read. So in that, the primary ones, the major ones, what a plant requires, which they call it as macronutrients, and the minuscule proportion in which the elements are required are consumed by the plant for its sustenance and growth. They are called the micronutrients. Now, all macro, micro, all are available abundantly in the nature. Now, where are these 108 elements? They are in nature only. And one research has said that 3 lakh samples were tested all across the globe, and each soil, the testing was that almost all the samples had the 108 elements. That is, this presence of 108 elements is a universal thing. It is there everywhere. Okay, and only maybe there may be a slight disturbance depending on the land where we are. Otherwise, all the macro, micro are all available in a very good manner. Only thing is, what is available should reach the plants. Now, how will it reach? Now, as we are not capable of just absorbing all the nutrients that are there in the nature, so also a plant does not have the capability to just absorb. We think when we pour water, the plant absorbs everything. No, it's not like that. Somebody needs to fix these nutrients that are available in the nature to the plant. And who is that somebody? That somebody is the soil microbes. And we know many types of soil microbes are there, which fix different nutrients to the soil. For example, nitrogen fixing bacteria, the pseudomonas, the actinomycetes, all these types of bacteria or the soil microbes, they fix a particular set of nutrients to the plants. Similarly, phosphate fixing bacteria, they are different. Potash fixing, again, they are different set of soil microbes. So we have abundance of soil microbes also there, and the nutrients also there. And only thing is these microbes must be there in order to fix the nutrient that is already available in the soil or in the air. Now, in the air, why do I say? There are some elements like we see, which are the elements? Nitrogen, okay, hydrogen, carbon dioxide, oxygen, all these are gaseous form of elements, right? Now again, carbon, when I say carbon dioxide, it's a combination of carbon and oxygen. Okay? But when it comes to carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, all the other manganese, iron, zinc, copper, these are all bound form of elements or solid form. Now whether it is bound form or it is a gaseous form, both need to be fixed to the plant in order for the plant to get all the nutrition, right? When you supply all the nutrition, then only your plant is healthy. When you give to your plant, only you will get back as food. You are the one who is dependent on the plant. Okay, you feed the plant properly, then you get in return in the form of your grains, all that vegetables, fruits, everything. In that you'll get all the nutrition. Now, what we need to do in natural farming, what we need is to do is to preserve and multiply these microbes in your soil. Then what happens? Then your microbes will be fixing the nutrition to the plant. This way, we will help the plant to get everything in order to for us to get back it. Right? This is how it works. Now, in natural farming, what we do, there are some steps in natural farming. First of all, you don't put any chemicals. Okay. The moment you put one drop of chemical also, the chemical is so lethal, as I said, that it will kill all the soil microbes. It will drive away your earthworms and other things which are in the soil. Now, soil has got three properties we should remember. One is the physical aspect, what you see as a rocky soil or a soil with pebbles or soil with red soil, black soil, alluvial soil, so many types, no? All that you can see, feel, all these are the physical aspects. Then chemically, all the nutrition that is available in the soil is a chemical aspect, but biological aspect is the life in the soil, which is very important. Now, what are all there in the soil? You have the centipedes, millipedes. You just pick one handful of soil and see it will be actually moving. Why it moves? Because there is life moving in that. You see all these small little things in the soil. Then you have your earthworms. But earthworms are very sensitive. The minute you put chemicals, they will go deep down underneath the ground and they will try to be in a dormant state and try to protect themselves. survive there. When the conditions are conducive, then they come up. That is why when you go to any natural farming practitioner's farm, you see, you just pick a handful of soil, you see even earthworm in your hand. You will see that in that soil, earthworm will be there. That's why chemicals will drive away everything. As I said in the beginning itself, not even snake comes to your farm because the chemicals are so lethal. We were doing a project in Kurnool. We are still doing, but there is a project very close to where we were doing. There is a big solar plant, and the solar plant people they called us and they said we want to do natural farming in around this area because they wanted to save the great Indian bustard bird. No, Indian bustard. It's a very rare variety. It's slowly becoming extinct. There was a time when thousands of birds used to fly during the season, come there, and then there is a small lake there. You just visit the lake and go back. Okay. And then slowly the numbers came to thousands to hundreds, and now hundreds to it has come to one digit. That is single digit. Okay. Now the government was worried as to why this flock of birds have come to this many numbers. When they made the study, they came to know that the birds they thought was they were laying the eggs and the eggs are being eaten by the fox or the snakes. This is what they thought. But initially, but they were proved to be wrong. The birds were dying even before laying the eggs. It was because the worms that they were eating from the soil had a heavy coating of chemicals. When they consume these worms, they were getting killed. So this is how the government has understood the importance not to put the chemicals. So they had asked so many corporates, they have set up all the solar plants like Adani Group has set up. Now this group, where what I'm talking about, that group has set up. So many groups have set up. So they have given them a corporate social responsibility, no? Under CSR, they said you take up some villages around your plant and you start doing natural farming. So one such group, Greenco group, they approached us. They said, "Will you help us?" I said, "Certainly." So when we went, they told us the whole story and handed over the research that was done, the study that was done, and why it was so imperative for us to switch to natural farming in order to save this extinct, almost extinct type of this Indian bustard. So this is how we are contaminated. Do you understand now how lethal it is? That is why I said no bird, no animal will visit the farm where heavy dosage of chemical is put. Okay. Now, when you say snakes don't visit, how do we expect earthworm to be there? How do we expect soil microbes to be there in the soil? This is how continuously, systematically, we are removing the life, that is, leaching the land of the life present there. That is how we have eliminated. And what is happening? Nature has got wherever we go, it has got nitrogen. Wherever you go on the globe, you have oxygen, right? You don't need to think that only in Arctic or Antarctic or on the Asia or Europe there is this and there is it's not there. Not like that. It is universal, as I said. Everything is present, but the agent which is there should be there to fix this is missing. Who is that agent? These small little soil microbes. When we were small children, I hope you remember, we had in our sixth or seventh standard, I don't know, fourth or fifth, I really don't know now. We used to have this leguminous plant will fix nitrogen to the soil. We have all read. You remember, no? Now, what is that leguminous plant? Leguminous plants means all those plants which have dicotyledons, all pulses, your moong dal, your tuar dal, your black gram, urad dal, or your Bengal gram, huh? All this cowpea, your peas, all this, what are these? These are all dicotyledons. They are all leguminous. So now, what is that leguminous plant has? In its root, it has got root nodules, and the root nodules have got all these oil microbes in the root nodules. Now, what were they doing and what are they doing? These oil microbes, they fix the nitrogen. That is why even today, though we are doing most parts of the country, we are still doing conventional farming. But by practice, farmer, what he does, that first he will put some moong dal or something, before the season starts. And then he mulches it back. At least in southern part of the country, what I'm observing is they put moong dal. They don't understand or They understand, we really don't know. But they harvest it sometimes. Sometimes they don't harvest. They just, run the rotavator over that and mulch it back. Now, what is this they are doing? That is, all the pulses have root nodules, and nodules have the microbes, and microbes fix the nitrogen. Atmospheric nitrogen, that is nitrogen which is available in the atmosphere, that is fixed by these microbes to the soil or to the plant, right? This is how the things happen. By practice, the farmer is doing now, right now. Whether he understands, we really don't know. Only when you probe into some people, some very old farmers, maybe 50 years old or 55 years, they understand because their fathers would have told them. But very young boys, they don't understand. They say, well, we have to mulch it back. This is how we do. This is how my father does. Okay, your father does. Right, at least that much they are doing. Now, what is that they are doing is they are preparing the land for the next crop or the main crop, which may start in the Kharif or the Rabi season. Okay. So this is how this knowledge, though it is there, it is all in distorted form. Nobody is telling them properly. See, this is how you have to do. You have to multi-crop, you have to mulch. These are all part of our natural farming in order to have those microbes in the soil. Now, natural farming today, the way it is practiced, at least it has come to a stage where people understand little bit, where they, instead of doing things at random, they do it in a systematic way, and it needs to be done in a systematic way. Why it needs to be done in a systematic way? Because we have contaminated everything. Now we have to try to bring back our land, our water, everything to its original form. Then from there going forward, if we go on practicing this kind of a thing, we don't have to worry at all. You see some old practitioners when you visit their farm. How many you have, I don't know, but I have visited quite a number of farmers who have been practicing for more than 3 years, 4 years, 7 years, like this. When you walk on their farm, you feel the bounce as though you're walking on a sponge. That is the real natural farm. I'm really telling you. Why it has become like that? Why is it bouncing? Why should the ground bounce? Now, right now, when we are using chemicals, overdosage of chemicals, no, chemicals don't come just like that. You understand, no? Along with the chemicals, some binding material is also packed and given. For example, our urea, there will be a percentage mentioned on the bag. Now, what does it mean? It means it has got that much of urea in it. The balance is the binding material. Now, what does this binding material do when you put it in your soil? It binds, naturally binds the soil. When the soil is bound together, then what happens? The soil becomes compact. And when the soil becomes compact, what happens? Neither the water, that heavy rain, they just wash away. They just go away from your farm. The farm is not able to hold the water because the soil is not porous. You understand? It's not capable of absorbing the water, right? So the water doesn't seep in. Now the water flows away. Now this is also a disadvantage of this farming, conventional farming. Now again, water doesn't percolate, air does not circulate. Now why air is necessary? As we said in the beginning itself, we need all the five elements to be alive here, right? We are made up of five and we need these five. Now water doesn't percolate and air also does not circulate. How do we expect the plant to be healthy, alive and growing? This is not very good expectation from our side, right? So you make things properly. First, you correct things, bring it to that level where it will become sustainable. So in order to make it like that, first step is stop putting chemicals. Okay. Second step should be follow your natural farming that is prescribed in a systematic manner. This is where natural farming either it will succeed or fail. I'll tell most of the farmers in my class, don't say natural farming and say nature will take care and leave it to nature. No. When you say you are switching over, please do everything systematically as prescribed. If you do on your own and say, okay, this time I have put this, oh, nature will take care. Okay, nature will take care to some extent. But you are not capable, your land has not become capable enough to self-sustain itself, sustain itself. So it has to be made into. So the beginning first years. Why they say conversion 3 years? It's because that systematically you need. You have to bring your farm to a state where it will become self-sustainable. Till such time you have to struggle. Struggle is not really struggle, but methodology. That methodology, which is prescribed methodology, needs to be followed step by step. And in natural farming, there are basically 5 steps which you need to follow, whether you like it or not. First and foremost, you when you say natural farming, please align yourself with the nature. Do not think you are away from the nature. I am different, you are different, nature. No, nothing works like that. You have to align with the nature. Now, when we saw this slide, what did we see? The plant is taking the, what does it take? The sunlight. Huh? The sunlight, then the carbon dioxide from the air, and the water. Now, these 3 things are the basic things. Now, many people fail to understand this, especially people who do home gardening. They'll ask one question, I have 2 hours of sunlight in my balcony. Can I grow that? Hey, Baba, sunlight is the main source now. If you don't give that sunlight to the plant, how will the plant grow? So these are the basic things. So when you do on a large scale, when you do your nutrition gardens or your vegetable bed or your kitchen garden, backyard garden, whatever it is, this is the basic thing you have to take care of, whether sunlight is there or not. That is the main important thing. Second thing, water, how much water you give. Okay. On a large scale, I do understand, 1 acre, 2 acres, or 10 acres, whatever. The water, they understand it very well. The farmers also know how to give water, whether it's a flow system or a drip system and all those things, and depending on. And some farmers are doing farming without a proper arrangement for water. They only depend on the rain-fed irrigation, what they call it. And then, but when it comes to home gardeners, we all fail because excess water kills the plant. That also is one of the main things which we need to take care of. And as I said, the soil porosity is very important. If the soil is porous, water can percolate, air can circulate, only then a plant can survive. And even this climate change, untimely rain, or extended summer, or late setting of our winter, all this will affect the plant in one way or the other. Now the winter doesn't set at the proper time and it gets extended and sets later. When it is about to flower, we lose a lot of thousands of tons of wheat in our country because of this. It goes into thousands of tons of wastage. Why? Because you see the shaft covering, the covering will be there, but grain will not come because the winter has set very late. It has not set at the right time. Now summer gets extended. Now, as we saw today, the temperatures are soaring like anything in March itself. We have not seen this last year. It was going on, during the summer also we had rain. Now, last year's pattern is not getting repeated this year. So every time we are for a surprise, we are seeing it as a surprise. Now, this kind of a thing, it affects all living beings, whether it is a plant body or an animal body or a human body. Okay. So for a plant, it is even more important because we are all dependent on the plant as our food. Our food comes from where? It comes from either another animal or the plant. And the plant is the primary producer of food and it gives food to the rest of the creation. So this kind of a thing. Now, what is the key to this? How do we understand? First, we understand natural farming. So we understand doing natural farming, how important it is for the soil to be kept in a proper condition. This is the key I'm telling you for climate change to avoid any sort of an untoward result. The key to the entire thing is the soil. So the soil in natural farming needs to be prepared before we go for the season. What is our season? Our season starts with our monsoon, as we all know. June to September will be Kharif season. October to February will be the Rabi season, and after that will be summer. If at all we can take a crop in summer, we take. Otherwise, most parts most of the farmers do not go for a third crop because they lack the water, right? Kharif, they go for a crop which needs heavy water, heavy, you know, it needs lot of water. Again, Rabi season, they don't need so much water. So they go for all those, that kind of a crop where water requirement is not to that extent. So this kind of a planning, it is almost uniform all over the country. We see Kharif season paddy they grow, Rabi season they grow wheat in North India, South India paddy, and they grow all pulses, grams, such things in South India, brownness, all these things. But summer crop, depending on the availability of water, they may grow some vegetables. This is what our common observation is. We as beginners, we should understand that we have different agroclimatic zones and we should adhere, when I say natural farming, please adhere to your surroundings. Don't go copy something what is in Himachal Pradesh, okay, let me do in Andhra Pradesh, it will not work. Or if I want to grow something of Andhra Pradesh variety in Uttarakhand, it will not work because we have different agroclimatic zones across the country. We need to understand where we are and what we should do. That's one thing. Second thing, season wise. Third thing, it is also the movement of the sun. The Uttarayana, Dakshinayana also affects. So you have to, natural farming is not a standalone farming. As I'm going on telling you, it's not a standalone thing. It is cannot be done by throwing some chemicals at random and running away. No, you need to be there taking care of it right from the beginning till the end, till you harvest, right? At least till you harvest this kind of a thing. So prepare your land, wait for the monsoon, plan accordingly, and we have some timetable, for vegetable calendars we have some crop calendars for North India separate, South India separate. So go by where you are, that kind of a calendar, crop calendar you follow. Apart from that, people who understand almanac, no, our panchang, we have a panchang also for agriculture. So that is a very deep science actually, and people may say it's a nonsense. No, it is not nonsense. It is a very deep science. It is being published by Srinivasa University, that is Tirupati. So that also we can have a look. People who are already practitioners can have a look. People who are beginning with, don't worry so much. Just begin with, with a good intention that I'm going to begin. And how do we begin? We go first fertilize the soil with the biofertilizers. What are the biofertilizers? They are the Jeevamrit and the Ghana Jeevamrit. All of you must have heard many times about this Jeevamrit and Ghana Jeevamrit. And Jeevamrit, Ghana Jeevamrit, they are the biofertilizers. One is a liquid biofertilizer, the Jeevamrit, and Ghana Jeevamrit is the solid fertilizer or a fertilizer which has a longer shelf life. Now, Jeevamrit can be prepared, but it can be used only, up to 7 days only. The shelf life is there, and after 4th or 5th day of preparation, when you see a white covering on the coating on the top of the drum, plastic drum, then it's a sign that it is ready and it can be used. Whether it is Ghana Jeevamrit or Jeevamrit, what is the motto behind it? We are trying to put the soil microbes into the soil in order to make our soil full of microbes. Now, next thing what we need to do is, when you put your seed or it sprouts and comes up, then these microbes will be active to fix the nutrition for the plant. Now, these microbes, what we need to understand, they do not have a long life like us. Long in the sense, see, animals live, dogs live for 15 years or so, or up to 20 years, whatever, according to the breed. So every animal has got its own life cycle. So also is our microbes. And microbes have only 1 week to 10 days of life. That's all, not more than that. So what Jeevamrit, when they say, anybody teaches you, they'll say, you put every 15 days. Now, why is that 15 days? That is, you go on replenishing the microbe population in the soil. Let them be there. They are the agents who will fix the nutrition to the plant. Again and again and again in my trainings, I will go on telling you this because this is where people do not pay attention. A farmer, what he does, he will put Jeevamrit and after 3 months, he'll put again Jeevamrit. He'll say, I have put Jeevamrit. Arey Baba, you have put Jivamrit, but for a long period of time, the microbes cannot survive. They are alive only for a 10 days period or 15 days period maximum. That is why Jivamrit needs to be put regularly into the farm. That's one thing. Now, Ghana Jivamrit, you can put 2 to 3 times. One when you're starting your farming. Then afterwards, a couple of times, depending on, if you feel that the soil needs some more nutrition. Soil fertility is the key again. The more you make the soil fertile, the soil becomes very rich and also porous. Now, these two things again and again, it is a key to everything for the plant growth, your climate change, for water percolation, air circulation, all these things, and also pest control. The soil, if it is healthy, then only it will not allow any type of a virus or bacteria which is harmful, or its pH will be maintained. Another thing, very important thing. Similarly, a fertile soil will enable a good growth for a plant, and the plant will be healthy. If the plant is healthy, it can withstand, resist any type of an invasion. That is, we all have known in this corona period why some people were falling sick and some were able to just, did not affect them. Why? It all depends, no? Your body constituency and how healthy you are, whether you can resist the disease, all these things matter. Similarly, as I said, plant body and animal body or human body, at one level, we are all the same. So, if you make your plant healthy, then it can resist disease. It can fight against pests. Similarly, it can grow properly. Okay. So, soil, again and again, I'm telling you, it is the key to the growth of the plant and also for various other things. Now, going forward, your seed. Now, seed is again, it is a small little thing you may think, but it has got the entire blueprint of the plant in it. It will grow according to that blueprint. It knows, it has got its own intelligence. What has to become the root and go down, what should become the shoot and come up, and what needs to become the leaves, which will become the stem, the flower, fruit, everything is there. The design is there inside. When you throw the seed, if you take care, if you treat the seed and then sow the seed, then there is a lot of chance for the seed to sprout properly. 90% chances if you treat the seed. Okay. And what is this treating the seed? What we get in the bazaar, in the market, it's all chemically treated. If you want to do it naturally, you have to do it with Bijamrit. And Bijamrit is a seed treatment. It's a way to treat the seed. Again, it is in liquid form. We use the cow dung and the cow urine and all this to make the Bijamrit. And then what you buy from the store, that is from the market, you wash it with water and then treat it with Bijamrit. This way, you are enabling the seed to go into the farmland and resist the disease there, resist the virus and bacteria that are there in the land, and still sprout and grow properly. If you treat 1 month, the plant will be healthy. Till you give the Jivamrit, it will not have any problem. And what we observed is when the seed is treated, there's 90% chances of proper sprouting. I have seen farms where the government has supplied seeds to the farmers. 70 to 75% is only the sprouting. Again, you see the input cost for the farmer has gone up. Why it has gone up? Again, he has lost 25%, no? Buying the seeds from the government, but 25% does not sprout. Is it not a cost to the farmer? It is. It is an increase in this input cost. So all the things matter here. So first is your land preparation and regular fertilization. That is the second thing. Third thing is your seed treatment. This is also a very important aspect as far as natural farming is concerned. Now, third thing is, once the plant has become 1 month old, then it invites, because see, this is natural way of doing. As such, you're not putting any chemicals. So it attracts all predators as well as pests. Everything comes into the farm. At that point of time, you have to become alert. As you walk in your farm, you will see a swarm of mosquitoes arising, mosquito-like, but it is all the pest that has already come. So what you need to do, a mild dosage of Neemastra, if the pests are very small and the plant is small. When the plant is small, naturally the pest is also small. Only a big tree can have a big worm on it. Okay, where a small little seedling, it does not carry a big worm on it. This is general common sense, right? So all these aphids point of time, Neemastra will work excellently. Now, what is Neemastra again? We select some leaves in nature which are averse to any kind of a pest. They don't allow any pest. They repel the pest. Such kind of leaves we select and make Neemastra. Neemastra basically the neem leaf that is used. And then going forward, if the pest is very stubborn and persistent, then we go and do Brahmastra. Brahmastra is a little potent and very strong kind of a pesticide that we do, and we distill it in our cow urine. By distilling it in cow urine, it becomes more potent and the shelf life also is extended. For 6 months, you can hold it, you can store it and use it. So these two are more than enough if you do properly your natural farming. Now going forward, if Neemastra, Brahmastra also don't work, then you do Agni Astra. That's very potent and very strong that needs to be touched only as a last resort. Otherwise, what happens? Your leaves may turn brown and you may panic. So you should not touch Agni Astra unnecessarily. Okay. With this kind of a practice, you can nicely sail through and harvest your crop. So like this, from the beginning till end, if all the practices are followed thoroughly, methodologically, then everything comes to a proper thing and then you harvest. Now, up to harvest only I will tell, because post-harvest is a very big subject, which, not necessary for this session. So this is how natural farming works. So few tenets of natural farming is, one is your land fertilization, seed treatment, then your pests and pesticides and predators. You have to take care of it with the natural pesticides that you make out of distilled cow urine and the leaves that are there. And apart from this, there is one more aspect which is very important: mulching. Mulching the soil, covering your topsoil, because topsoil is the one which is prone to all sorts of distortion by, again, natural forces only. A heavy rain will carry away the topsoil. A gale of wind will blow away the topsoil. You understand? So a scorching sun, it affects the topsoil. So anything that happens out of the thing, or it is too heavy or severe, it affects the topsoil. So topsoil needs to be managed properly, because all the nutrition in the topsoil, if it is washed away or carried away or blown away, then what nutrition will the soil have? In order to retain that, then you have to cover your topsoil. With what you have to cover? Not with the plastic mulch, with all your farm waste, all the dry farm waste that is available in the farm needs to be covered, used for covering the topsoil. This is how you will protect the topsoil. Now, by doing so, what you are really doing is you are covering the topsoil, protecting it. Secondly, you are adding more organic carbon to your soil. This is very important. As we saw in one of the slides, macronutrients. What are the macronutrients? Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. They stand as the first category of macronutrients, which the plant requires to an extent of 98.5%. This is the extent that the plant requires. Now, for example, we ourselves, what do we eat? We eat more of carbohydrates than the proteins, than the minerals and vitamins. They all come in a first priority, carbohydrates, because that gives you energy, that makes you work, that makes you talk, that makes you walk, run, do your work, right? Energy is required. So instantly you get it from carbohydrates. Similarly, a plant also takes carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Maximum it wants to an extent of 98.5%. And among the macronutrients, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen stand out first. Then followed by nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. They are also required very much by the plant, but they are in the second category. Now, in the third category, you have calcium, magnesium, sulfur. They are also important for the plant. And these 9, what I have stated just now, all of them are macronutrients. And the rest of them, what is the rest? 108 minus 9, 99 elements which are left in the periodic table are all micronutrients. That is, the plant needs them, but needs them in a minuscule proportion, not to a large extent. So if we understand this, then we understand how important it is to cover the topsoil, because this farm waste will add to organic carbon, which is very much necessary for growth of the plant. Okay, I hope this will be enough for the time being. Any questions, I will answer. Because some may be beginners, some may be practitioners, yeah. So depending on that, your questions also will be accordingly. I will try to answer most of your questions. Yes, please.
You want to take the questions now, Umaji?
Okay, if you want another session, fine. I also have some work. Okay.
Yeah, because I think it's a lot of info. We'll
Yeah.
share the recordings on group, let people watch it once again and
Sure.
make questions properly.
Sure.
Someone has asked a question. If you want to answer like couple of them now, we can do it.
Yeah.
But I was thinking if they can pause the session again and make like a proper questions, and it can be exclusive question and answer session.
Somebody is asking sustainable farming or which is better choice, buying 5 acres land with any soil converting into sustainable farming, or buying 1 acre of red soil and doing farming? Is buying agriculture land near hill is good? If yes, how? See, one thing, no, whatever you do in a small piece of land. Okay. First, you become, proficient, conversant with that methodology. Once you gain confidence, then you can do on a bigger piece of land. For that, whether you buy land or you lease land, it is up to you. Now, coming to the second part is near the hill. Maybe near the hill you can buy, but you see that it does not run off. The whole water coming from the hill should not run off your topsoil, your plant, and all that. So, if you have to start with, you start in a proper place and take lease if you don't want to buy. Understand how the natural farming works, then you can go forward, right? Then the second question, what is the group? What is the group? Is there any WhatsApp? Yeah, Rahul will tell you this. We have a WhatsApp group. Yeah, he has already given you. What is the schedule for the next session? How can we get connected? Yeah, that will be given in the group again. Yeah, Rahul has already answered that question. So there are no more questions, Rahul, for the time.
Yeah, Umaji, that's what. I mean, it was like a really, really informative session. But people, I think maybe most of them may be beginners. So let's like give them some more time to understand about it, and then we can have an exclusive question answer sessions.
Yeah, Jyoti is raising her hand, Rahul.
Yeah, Jyoti, I'm unmuting you, Jyoti. If you want to ask something, you can.
Hello, Jai Gurudev, ma'am.
Jai Gurudev.
Ma'am, I have actually accompanied you once for a program. After that, I couldn't make it. I'm from Hyderabad only. I stay in Alwal, very near to your residence, ma'am.
Yeah.
So I wanted to plan a trip to villages, 1 or 2 villages where our relatives are there, just to educate them about this. So how I can plan it?
You can call me.
How to
I
let-
will tell you.
Okay. Are you in this group, ma'am? Natural farming group? Are you in this group, ma'am?
No, I am not in that. You take my number.
Okay.
From Rahul, right?
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, Rahul.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Jyoti. Bye.
Okay, Umaji.
Yes, okay. Bye.
Thank you so much for taking your time out. And congratulations for Kisan Samruddhi Mahotsav also. I'll see you soon, Umaji. And I'll keep you updated whatever the schedule of the next session is. If we have to do a question answer session. Let
Sure.
me also speak to the people in the group. And once they are ready with the questions, I'll reach out to you again.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Okay, Umaji. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Jai Gurudev.